Story 1. The Midnight Lane. Frank was pushing through Nevada on I-80. Nothing but scrubland and darkness for 100 miles in any direction. His was the only vehicle for hours. That's when his CB radio, silent all night, crackled to life. A voice calm and clear came through. Eastbound driver. You've got a pair of headlights tailgating you in your blind spot. Just thought you should know. Frank checked his mirrors. Nothing. He keyed the mic. Thanks, driver. Don't see him now. A minute later, the voice was back. He's back. Really close now. You can't see him. Frank's knuckles were white on the wheel. He checked again. Still nothing but empty. Black road behind him. The voice came a third time, now sounding confused, almost frantic. He's flashing his brights. He's right on your bumper. How can you not see him? That's when Frank saw it. In his side mirror, for a split second, a pair of bright, blinding headlights did flash not from behind him, but from the empty passenger seat right beside him. The CB went dead. Frank didn't stop driving until the sun was high in the sky. He never figured out who or what was on the other end of that radio. Was it a warning? Or was it the thing itself, telling him exactly where it was sitting? Story 2. The hitchhiker's promise. A college student named Chloe was driving through the Smoky Mountains, trying to make up time as a thick fog rolled in. The road was a winding, treacherous snake. Through the mist, she saw a woman standing by the roadside, drenched and shivering. Against her better judgment, Chloe pulled over. The woman slid into the passenger seat, her clothes smelling of damp earth. She was silent for a long time, just staring ahead. Then, she spoke without turning her head. There's a sharp curve ahead. The Miller's Curve. A school bus went off it. 20 years ago, I was the only one they never found. Chloe's blood ran cold. She'd read about that accident online. As they approached the curve the woman had named, the fog seemed to congeal into shapes the ghosts of children standing along the guardrail, waving. Chloe slammed on the brakes, skidding to a halt. She turned to the woman to say something, anything. But the seat was empty. The door was still locked. The only thing left was the lingering smell of wet soil and a single, hand-drawn map on the passenger seat, with a location deep in the woods circled in red. Chloe never went to find it, but sometimes, on foggy nights, she thinks she sees a woman standing at that curve, still waiting for a ride to take her all the way home. Story 3. The Endless Truck. Mark and his girlfriend, Sarah, were on a cross-country move. Somewhere in the flat, endless plains of Kansas, a rusted, old semi-truck, with no company logo pulled onto the highway in front of them. It was going infuriatingly slow. Mark flashed his brights, but the truck didn't move over. It just kept pacing itself, blocking both lanes. They could see a shadowy figure in the high cab, but no details. This went on for 20 miles. Finally, Mark saw an opening and swerved into the oncoming lane to pass. As they pulled alongside the massive rig, he glanced up at the driver's side window. The cab was empty. There was no one at the wheel. As they stared in disbelief, the truck, SCB radio in their own car, blasted to life with a burst of static and a single, growled word. Don't. They sped the way, their hearts hammering. For the next hour, no matter how fast they drove, those two red taillights were always there in their rear-view mirror, keeping a perfect, impossible distance. They only vanished when they took a random exit and hid behind a gas station, too terrified to get back on the highway. They never found an explanation. They just know that for one night, they were shepherded by a driverless truck, and they have no idea what would have happened if they had slowed down. Story 4. The rest stop. After 10 hours of driving, Alex pulled into a remote rest stop, surrounded by dense woods. The place was deserted. He went into the men's room, the motion sensor lights flickering on with a dull buzz. He was at the urinal when he heard one of the stall doors behind him creak open. He froze. Then, a second one creaked open, and a third. He finished and turned around slowly. All 3 stall doors were now wide open, revealing empty, grimy toilets. The silence was broken by the sound of slow, wet footsteps coming from one of the stalls. Squelch, squelch, like someone walking barefoot on a wet floor. Alex didn't wait. He ran out to his car, fumbling with his keys. As he tore out of the parking lot, he glanced in his rearview mirror. The rest stop was dark again, but standing at the tree line, illuminated by his retreating taillights, was a tall, pale figure, its limbs too long, standing perfectly still and watching him leave. He reported it to the police the next day. They told him the rest stop had been closed for years following an unsolved incident. They asked him why he thought the lights were on. Story 5. The Vanishing Motel. Exhausted and desperate during a torrential downpour, a family man named Leo pulled into the Starlight Motel. It was a time capsule. The elderly clerk handed him a heavy, brass key for room 11. The room was clean but felt still, like the air hadn't moved in decades. In the middle of the night, Leo was woken by the sound of a child giggling and running down the outdoor walkway right past his door. He got up, annoyed, to look. The walkway was empty, the rain still pouring. As he turned to go back inside, he saw it, scratched into the paint of his door. Fresh and deep were the words, "Daddy, I'm in here." His blood ran cold. His kids were safe in the other bed. He ran to the office, but it was dark, the clerk gone. He packed his sleeping family into the car and sped off into the storm. The next morning, in the clear light of day, he tried to find the motel again to report what happened, but the exit he'd taken was overgrown and abandoned. There was no motel, just an empty field and a single, rusted vacancy sign lying in the weeds. He never told his family, but he still has that brass key, and sometimes, late at night, he swears he can hear faint, phantom giggles coming from the junk drawer where he keeps it locked away. The road is long, and you're not alone.